Hello, and welcome back to Tidbit of Torah. The other day, while I drove my daughter back to school because 'tis the season of school starting, we talked a little bit about what her goals might be for this year academically, and also to be things like to be a good friend. What is it that she wants to learn to do in terms of being a mensch and her values and her development outside of just reading, math, science, etc.? It got me thinking about what is it that we're doing as parents and as people to develop the moral lives of our children and frankly also ourselves. What are the goals that we have to develop a sense of connection, a sense of purpose, a sense of spirituality in our lives and the lives of the next generation? Well, oftentimes when we think about faith, we don't think about it as much in a particularistic Jewish way. Belief might be central in Christianity, while as actions and learning are truly central in Judaism. And yet, nevertheless, we find throughout the Torah beautiful statements about developing a life of faith, a moral life. Let's look at one of them that we find in this week's Torah portion, Parshat Re'eh, that is quite powerful. We read in chapter 13, verse 5 of Deuteronomy, Acharei Adonai Elokechem techelu v'oto tiru v'et mitzvotav tishmeru v'kolo tishma'u v'oto ta'avod uvo tidbakun, which can be viewed as not only a statement about faith, but actually almost like stages of faith. As translated by Rabbi Danny Nevins, that number one, we're invited to walk in tandem with Adonai, our God, to be able to find a relationship with the divine, to notice that we are not alone in this world. Number two, to develop a sense of yirah, a sense of awe or reverence, a sense of walking around the world and having a wow sense, a wonder, which Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel says is the root of faith. Number three, to be in relationship with God's commandments as spiritual opportunities to connect us with tradition, with God, and with others. Number four, to listen, to pay attention, as I talked about the other week, to the still small voice of the divine and others, to be able to attune ourselves to a relationship with the divine in both small and big ways in this world and beyond. Number five, to la'avod, to serve, to find a sense of purpose and service beyond just our own needs, but the world, to be able to show up, whether it's prayer or in our work, to be able to volunteer and actually show up with a sense of service and purpose in the world. And number six, to cling to God. I think about the word echad, oneness, in the pivotal prayer of the Shema that we just read in an earlier Torah portion in Deuteronomy, to develop that sense of closeness, oneness, wholeness. So this verse can actually be viewed as a series of stages of faith, much like we might read in James Fowler or Kohlberg or Carol Gilligan, in terms of the moral and faith-based development of our children and ourselves, which becomes not only more complex as one aged, but also to develop a sense of closeness with the divine and with a moral life as one develops. So I wonder what that might look like for each of us and how we might scaffold that for our children. What are the books that you have on your shelf that raise questions about discovering spirituality and God in your child's life or in your own? What are the experiences that you set up to be able to foster that sense of wonder and awe? And how do you frame those experiences? How do you talk about God at home, or do you not? How do you curate a sense of opportunities for your child and encourage them to be curious about spirituality, about faith, and the divine? It's easy to walk through life and not talk about God. And for some people, that's what they choose to do. And for many of us, I think we just don't put in the effort as much as we might to truly ask the big questions about who and what God is, and to be able to create a space for the children in our lives to be the same. So as we enter into this month of Elul next week, as we enter into a new school year, I invite us to not only have academic goals, but to also have spiritual goals for ourselves and our children. Shabbat Shalom.